What's up, y'all? Chad with Southern Reliable Lawn Care. Just wanted to start this video off by thanking everybody who has subscribed to the channel. I've now reached over 500 subscribers, and this will be a long journey. This is the start to a long journey and just the beginning. So I appreciate all of those who have tuned in, who have been rocking with me, and here's to a lot more. Thanks for watching. All right, here I'm just starting out by changing out the engine air filter. On the back of the engine, this Kawasaki, there's a housing that lightly clips down. You just lightly lift up and you're able to get into this air filter. What's a neat idea is they have this hose clamp with a finger knob for you just to twist, tighten and untighten with your fingers. No tools needed. I thought that was super neat. Toss this air filter out, no longer needing that one. Clean up inside a little bit of the housing so that way you're not getting the new air filter too dirty, but don't worry about it. I mean, if you're OCD, you can vacuum this out and really get everything clean, but I'm gonna keep it moving here, guys. Throw a new air filter in. I really like how the new air filter has the sponge, additional filtration on the outside of the filter. I think that's pretty cool to have that additional protection there. And just go ahead and tighten that hose clamp back down, making sure everything's nice and tight underneath there. And you're good to go on the air filter. Super easy and super quick. So I really like that. So quick tune-up on the Kawasaki FR691V. Got this on the Hustler Raptor XD. Got my 2 quarts of oil here, which it won't take all of that. I'll have to double check on the actual capacity here real quick. But when you are checking your oil, guys, just a quick reminder, just a quick heads up if you don't know this. Of course, you want to wipe this off, right? So you take out your oil dipstick, you wipe it off good. Okay, all cleaned off. And what it says is, for correct oil level, do not turn cap on threads. So what it means is you just stick it in here, guys, on a flat surface. Make sure your mower's on a flat surface now. But you just stick it there. You don't turn the threads. You just stick it down there. Boom. So oil level's still good, but it is dark and it is due about 146 hours and some change there. And I'm gonna show you guys really quick and easy how to change your own oil. And here's just a quick tip on viscosity. Viscosity, guys. Oil viscosity is the thickness of your oil. The 10W, the 5W, all that stuff. This here, this AW 10W40. That's your oil viscosity. It's how thick your oil is, whether it's cool or hot. But here you go. This is also the temperature, ambient temperature of where you're at, where you're located. So if you're seeing temperatures of 68 degrees Fahrenheit, you could use any of these in here that cover that range. So I'm using 10W40, and it does say that although 10W40 engine oil is recommended for oil for most conditions, this viscosity may need to be changed. So just a heads up there, I am running 10W40. It looks like this is a synthetic blend. And here is the oil capacity. This covers the 651V, 691V, and the 730V. This is how much it is when it's not, the oil filter is not removed. You just replace the oil, which I recommend, I'm gonna replace both. So I'm gonna do in the 2.1 liters, which is also 2.2 quarts. The Hustler Raptor comes with this little flex tube here. Not the greatest. I know a lot of people upgrade it. I kind of keep the ends plugged so it stays clean, all that good stuff, just the oil. Here I'm just sliding under a oil pan just to catch any oil that may drip down. Of course, when I'm draining the oil, I'll need to drain into that pan. Here I'm feeding the tube that comes with the Hustler up through the hole. It's kind of hard to get up in there. I do recommend getting a longer hose and a more flexible hose to get onto that little barb piece right here where you loosen the drain plug. So this is a 10mm that I'm using to loosen this drain plug. I loosen it pretty good. Of course, a little bit with the wrench and then a little bit more by hand. But you'll start to notice the oil coming out underneath. You may need to squeeze this hose where it bends at that 90 degrees to go underneath the mower right here on top coming out of the drain plug. You may need to kind of mess with that to allow more oil flow. But just, letting you see where the drain plug is here and kind of, letting you see everything. And it is a slow drain, guys, so it does not drain that fast, I'll be honest with you. So a little bit of patience is needed with changing oil on these. I'll be honest with you, I don't think I've ever gotten the full 2.2 quarts out. If you do get the full 2.2 out, you're an animal, and I applaud you. Right here, just grabbing some old oil filter pliers and an old filter wrench and getting in there and loosen it a little bit. The rest will be done by hand. And just a quick tip, you want to tilt this oil filter upright just like that as quickly as you can, because there is a bunch of oil still inside that filter. And here I'm just getting everything kind of cleaned up the best I can. It's gonna, you're gonna get dirty, have a lot of rags nearby. Here I'm just doing the best I can, and I'll continue to clean it up before adding the new filter. So guys, on this oil filter backing plate, you want to make sure this mounting plate is clean right here. You want to make sure the spindle that the oil filter spins onto, you want to make sure that's clean and nice. So you might have a little bit of run out there. That's no biggie. Don't worry about it being completely dry, but just make sure it's clean. Now for the new oil filter, you can either use the old oil, you can use that old oil to lube it up, or you can use some new oil. I'm just gonna use some new oil. So make sure your finger's clean, make sure it's good, make sure it's decent. Get some oil on there. And you're just introducing that gasket, that oil's gasket, to some of that oil. And here I'm just spinning on the new oil filter by hand. I never use any tools, and I don't recommend using any tools. I recommend maybe just your hand and a dry rag to just grip that thing as best as you can and tighten it as best as you can by hand. That will do. You don't want to use the oil filter pliers that you saw me take off the old oil filter with, as that could damage the new filter. But still a slow drain here. I'm probably about to call it and go ahead and add some oil. All right, so we've been draining for a while now. You guys can wait until it's all gone, or you can just go ahead and tighten everything up, clean everything up, and refill it, which I'm gonna go ahead and do now. I'll show you guys a little trick for cleaning everything up. Instead of worrying about, cleaning all that out, what I do is I just take a little paper towel and I just spread it in there. Just take some brake cleaner and spray it down there and get everything cleaned up. The brake cleaner evaporates, so it helps kind of get rid of anything you may have down there. All right, guys, so when adding oil, just make sure your funnel's clean before you do it. All right, so I'm only gonna add about half of this second quart, just because I don't let it drain all the way out. So it's not gonna take the full 2.2, guys. So just be very careful with that. You don't wanna overfill. Remember, when checking the oil level, you just wanna dip it down in there. And just a reminder, we have not ran it yet, so it has not filled up that oil filter. So I think it looks pretty good to go ahead and run it. And I still have about half a quart of oil or more. All right, so once you make sure everything's tight underneath, oil filter tight, drain plug tight, cap on, and your oil level's pretty good before you start. It's time to start her up. When you do start the engine, just make sure you look for leaks down here. You're in between the hash marks there. So it's good, guys. You're good to go. So if you guys wanted to do a full tune-up, you could replace spark plugs and fuel filter. In this case, I've only got 100 and just under 150 hours. I'm gonna go ahead and let it ride and just do the air filter and oil change for now.